What is up, people? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers Daily. That's right, we're resurrecting this show for the World Cup. It is the World Cup edition, of course. So strap in, grab some coffee, grab your tea, whatever you prefer, and we'll get going right into this one. Of course, big up to Mexico and South Korea for winning their first games in the tournament. Of course, the first game, the opener, had its moments, had its controversy, had its drama. It was absolutely a crazy 3 red cards. Did not see that coming, of course. And my bet didn't hit, people. My bet didn't hit. Make sure you're gambling responsibly out there, of course. But I had Korea drawing Czechia, and it did not work for me on that one, of course, because the Koreans were able to pull it out in a pretty fun second half. I would say after the 0-0, it was looking good for me at halftime. But then, of course, the game became a lot better, but my bet did not, of course. Hold on one second. We'll look ahead to the USA game, of course. We'll look ahead to the USA game, of course. Before that, though, is Canada and Bosnia, of course. So we'll get into some of that. But I thought that we'll start with Mexico and South Africa. I thought the Mexicans were definitely controlling the game. I was very surprised, like right out the rip. I was very, very surprised to see that 3-5-2 from South Africa, Bafana, as we know they are called. I was very surprised to see how deep they sat. I understand, and some of the people I've speaking with about it after the game, talking about how two things I want to touch on. One is the expanded format, maybe giving weaker teams a chance in the tournament. Is that a great, good, or bad thing? And of course, this defensive structure from South Africa, the fact that the format has given you the third place teams a chance to make it through, makes it, for me at least, makes it tactically, as you, maybe not tactically, but philosophically different as you approach the tournament. You can absolutely will advance with 4 points out of the group. If you get 4 points out of the group, you absolutely will advance. And so it seems like Bafana took that to heart and were like, you know what, if we get a draw, JT, bro, I was on the hype train. I was on the hype train. I thought they were going to be a little bit stronger than that. But when Korea really started coming after them, they struggled. And, JT, this is exactly it, because I made the comment when I was talking to my buddy Brian about the game. I was telling him, I was like, Czechia play like the Arsenal. And guess what? They scored on a long throw-in and almost scored on a free kick. But, of course, it was offside. But we'll get to that in just a minute, of course. I was very surprised at how much of a low block the well, I disagree, JT. They'll beat South Africa. Hopefully, South Africa will learn from how defensive they were. If they play like that against Czechia, it's just going to be a rollover session. They're just not even going to come out and play, and I really do expect Bafana to come at the next team. What's their let me actually go back here and look at their next game, whether it's Czechia or Mexico, or excuse me, South Korea. I think it's South Korea, honestly, is who I think they'll play in the next one and then Czechia last. And in that case, no, they play Czechia next. The next game is versus Czechia, so that's gonna suit the Czechs for sure, because South Africa have to come at them. A loss is absolutely devastating. Yeah, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very, very tough, because they've got, one of them was their captain. The first guy to get the first red card for South Africa was their captain. And so he's gone for the next game. I don't see much hope for the South Africans, unfortunately, especially with that tepid display they put on yesterday in an opener, no less. Like, I get it. I get it. You're against the hosts. Azteca, one of the most historical stadiums. Man, I loved that. I loved hearing the sound, the noise from the crowd, the energy. The Mexican fans were certainly up for it, man. That stadium was rocking. Really, really got me into the spirit of the World Cup and the spirit of the tournament, man. They did the flags waving song. That was absolutely beautiful. The opening ceremonies, I didn't get to see all of them. I got to see some of it at the end, so it was pretty cool. Yeah, JT, I remember you mentioning you had Schick in your fantasy and had to pull him out at the end. That makes sense. Probably a good thing. Hey, that hunch paid off. That hunch absolutely paid off, my man. And I think that Mexico really took to heart the spirit of the day and the energy of their home crowd. They're going to be tough to beat at Azteca. And I don't know what the schedulers were doing. If they're not playing every single game in Azteca, that's just they've failed there. That's a failure there. Definitely didn't didn't do that correctly, in my opinion. Especially the way a lot of things in this tournament are might just be fixed, might just be a little. Who knows? There's a lot of that going around. So, if they don't play at Azteca, they should play every game at Azteca. I don't think they will, but that home advantage was monstrous. You could tell. And I feel like the game was already won before because of how deep South Africa sat. Like, I was shocked. Like, immediately you could see their 5-3-2. Like, immediately you could see it. As soon as it kicked off, they immediately went into I don't know. Sam Allardyce would be so proud. Like, I don't know if we've seen a Premier League team park the bus that hard. That was crazy. I was definitely not expecting that. I expected much more of a free-flowing game. And so based on those results, it feels like South Africa are in a lot of trouble. But, of course, big up Raul Jimenez, Fulham man, obviously not one of my favorite players, but that's a big goal, man. And then Quinones, the leading goal scorer in Saudi League. That's right, even above my man Cristiano Ronaldo. He had a good game. He had a good game. And that's what the tournament's all about. It's about breakout stars. It's about finding, that next guy. And that's kind of how things happen in the World Cup. And I think that he had a very good game, very good showing of himself. And so Mexico, in the pole position, in prime position, looking good for Group A. And of course, Korea as well, looking good. Obviously, I think technically at the minute they're in second because of goal difference, because they did concede to the Czechs in a game that went pretty much like I expected. But Korea can really pass the ball around, man. They can really put the ball down and play. They got some speed. It was interesting. Their initial approach seemed to be hit it long, but they realized that Czechia weren't necessarily going to really free-flowing and attack them and come at them. They got comfortable and settled into the game, and that second half was dynamite, man. That's the kind of football you want to see. That's the kind of World Cup play you definitely want to see showing up the first game. Both teams actually came to play. I thought that, the Czechs definitely had a resemblance to a certain champion, I'll say, but it definitely, those links will be out there. But I think that it was soul crushing to lose my bet at the end like that, but the game was very, very fun, of course. It's just the magic of the cup, man. Right when you think you've won it, right when Suchek does his helicopter before he realizes he was miles off sides. What was it, 30 seconds later? 30 seconds later, they went down and got the winner. And so big up Korea, man. They always show up to the tournament. They always come prepared, ready to play at the World Cup. Maybe Sung Hyung-min, a little bit on the backside of it. I thought that he was getting a lot of good space. You could tell that what Korea's tactics were. They definitely wanted to get Son on the ball in behind Suchek and Parvad. I'm not sure how to pronounce that guy's name. The other center midfielder for the Czechs there in their double pivot with Thomas Suchek. Son was getting a lot of space in behind them, and you could tell they kept trying to attack that space and let him run at the defense. And eventually, yeah, it paid off. I thought Lee Kang-in of Paris Saint-Germain was bright. He looked good for sure in that one. And I think he will probably continue to do so and to be a positive influence on that team. Kim Min-jae looked good at the back from Bayern. So I think, yeah, right now their team looks balanced. Their team is looking pretty good. Yes, JT, Korea versus Mexico is probably going to be the decider for the top of the group. And then, of course, Korea will be, actually it may not. It's going to depend on if Mexico beat Czechia is what it'll depend on in this group, because we're assuming Korea are going to run roughshod over South Africa. But I really do hope that the South Africans get something from the Czechs, something from them, because if they do, then that third game will mean something. That third game will be big, and they'll have to go at Mexico. South Africa will in their final game. They'll have to go at them, and it'll be a really, really fun back and forth game, because let's be honest, people, we know South Africa are better than that. All the fans, all the things that I've seen from fans online afterwards, we know they're better than that, people. So they'll definitely be wanting to show up. But Thursday, June 18th is the next games in Group A, and South Africa. Well, I guess South Africa and Czechia gotta have it. So that's going to be a very, very big one to watch. And yes, Group A, 2 games in the book. First game of the World Cup is always a weird one. I agree with that as well. I personally was just expecting a lot more from South Africa. And I do expect them to pick it up and be better in their next game. Unfortunately, it is a very, very tough game. It is at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so it's at sea level. It's not 8,000 feet in the air, and there's a dome. It's a very incredible stadium. It's air conditioning. The stadium is air conditioned, man. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is the best, most incredible, most advanced high-tech stadium I've ever been to. I actually agree with this. JT, I think for me, Mexico looked the best, but they were a little bit sloppy. Actually, no, I'm probably going to say Korea looked the best. They maintained their tactics. They just tried the same thing over and over again. I think they might edge it, Korea, but that's going to be a fun game, like you say. This one right here will definitely be a fun game. I believe that's on Thursday, next Thursday as well. But of course, tonight we'll leave that for last. Another game, big game for the Canadians today, opening their group play versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. Edin Dzeko, the Crypt Keeper's dad, still doing it, still kicking, and I expect him to start today. I did watch Bosnia's play into the tournament for the playoffs. They're going to be resolute. They're going to be stout. I think Czech, as crap as they look much better than South Africa. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. 100%. I didn't think Czechia were poor at all, man. I thought that they did what they do, and that's what they're about. Stout defending, and being big in the box on throw-ins, corners, free kicks, etc. Yes, I did. I don't know if I sent mine in officially or whatever, but like to the game, to like if there's like a game that like you could go look at my results or whatever. But I did do all the permutations, all the predictions on the FIFA.com. Let's get a FIFA sponsorship in here, people. I've been shouting out FIFA the last 3 days on streams. Yeah, the FIFA.com predictor is where I did my predictions, JT. But yeah, Canada versus Bosnia today is gonna be an interesting one. I definitely think it's gonna be a really good opportunity to see how home soil will work for the Canadians. If you recall, the last tournament was yeah, okay, I didn't play this game. I definitely didn't play this game, JT. Yeah. I didn't do any of this. predicting scores and stuff like that. Yeah. Um so yeah, I'm not familiar with which one you're talking about. I didn't do like scores and stuff. I just kind of did the bracket challenge on there or whatever. So I'm probably not like entered in any of the official stuff or whatever, but that's what's up. Yeah, that is an interesting system for a prediction game, as you say. But it's going to be very important home field advantage for the Canadians. Their first tournament was Qatar. I think they've scored once. Alphonso Davies, total World Cup goals. Hey, no worries, bro. No worries, JT. I always appreciate you being here, man, every single time. Recommendations for fantasy for the first round. Well, today you want to take Christian Pulisic, of course. If you're looking at Canada, if Alphonso Davies is fit, you're probably going to he's going to rack up some points. Jonathan David, if he's fit and good to go, 100%, he'll start up top. The Juventus man, he'll start for Canada as well. Look out for Tayshaun Buchanan. He was one of their better players at the last tournament. If he's here, I haven't done too much extensive research on Canada as yet. We'll definitely get to see them later on today. But I do remember Tayshaun Buchanan he's pacey, he's strong, he's got a good shot on him. And I do expect this game to kind of be Canada going at Bosnia, Bosnia sitting in. The weather at 3 p.m. in Toronto is, Canada is like, it's farther up there. It's farther north. It's like, as far as Toronto is probably like, what should I say? Because New York City is level with London, right? So it's like, or New York City is farther south than all of Europe, I think, actually. So Toronto is farther north than that. So it's more of a, I think the Bosnians might be okay up in Canada. Here's your fantasy. Gabrielle, good pick. Yep. James, yep. Dumfries, yep. Vinny, Doku, Bruno, Oyarzabal. Is Oyarzabal, is he going to start? I'm wondering if he's going to start. I'm not familiar with Zlomazic and Mustafa Zico, but Holland is I'm always going to tell you Holland. You got my boy Kai Havertz on this list, bro. Yeah, I think if you can switch, you should get Christian Pulisic in your team. He's the focal point of USA. He's who we're looking to get the ball to. He's the creator. He's the guy that's going to be trying to, score the goals. So as far as like attacking output, Christian Pulisic is the guy that we are going to be trying to get the ball to, Is Ferran Torres not at this tournament? All right. Let me look this up. Spain World Cup squad. Yeah, Ferran Torres is here. He's here at the tournament. I understand that. I understand this 100%, JT. I when it comes to betting, I tend to go with what's going to make money, not with my affiliations. Like Holland's going to score. I don't like Erling Haaland, obviously. Mad respect, of course, but he's going to score. So let's and our boy Martin is the main man for Norway, so he's going to rack up some fantasy points as well, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm wondering how much, if Torres starts over Oyarzabal, or if they split minutes, or how that's going to be. Yeah, that's fair. I understand that. Like, you just got to go with the guys that are going to be focal points at the head of the attack for each team, right? That's what I would suggest, And so if Havertz is going to be starting, Gotta go with them, especially versus Curacao, man. When they play Curacao, dude, and it's gonna be a field day, you're spoiled for choice. Musiala, Verts, just whoever's gonna be up top is gonna be the guy dunking goals, and probably not. With Lewandowski in front of him, probably not. But I think that he's got a big part to play. And World Cup is about breakouts, right? The World Cup is about getting on the world stage in front of everybody and showing something big, And so I expect. I mean, Oyarzabal could also be in that same category. So I'm not sure, and if because I haven't paid much attention to Spain's buildup. If he's the one that's been starting, go with him. Go with the guy that starts. That's of course, but I do expect Ferran Torres to have a part to play in this tournament. But as far as the Canadians are concerned, I think it's going to be a slog. It's going to be they're going to have to send wave after wave and keep going and going and going to try and get some joy out of that Bosnian defense, because they are stout, a stout European team, of course. So we will take this moment, this opportunity. I have been sent a video to play from one of my fellow cup chasers. Let me get this loaded up, of course. Oyarzabal good value for money. Bookies, he's top 5 contender for Golden Boot. Well, that's the thing. Whoever is going to be, we know that Spain are going to be bagging goals, and so whoever's the focal point of the attack, is Yamal going to be looking for Oyarzabal? Then if so, then that's definitely one you want to look out for. All right, we have a video to play. Let me get this pulled up right quick. Actually, let me before I do it like that, that was about to be, as JT calls it, about to be what? This is the one I'm looking for. About to be the doxing everybody, releasing people's things. Let me get this going here first. Make sure we get the volume on. We'll slide this back. And my man Nez with his thoughts on. Let me get my headphones in so I can make sure I hear him. Sorry about this, folks. Episode 1. We're getting all the permutations. We're getting how this show's going to flow worked out. So let me get my headphones in so I can hear my man Nez and see what he says with his thoughts on the evening. All right, here we go.
What's up, Jake and my Cup Chasers people? First day of the World Cup, absolutely epic. Amen. 3 red cards, craziness. I mean, one of them I was kind of like, but otherwise, coolness. Excited for Mexico. Also, South Korea. I guess it's South Korea. Is it Korea? South Korea doing their thing. Absolutely wonderful. But for today, America, we ready. And maybe Canada will win too.
Love it. Absolutely love it from Nez there. Resident Cup Chaser, of course. Big up to him. And the USA are playing 9 o'clock, I believe it is, Eastern here. Of course, all of these times are very, very convenient for me. I still get to go out and work and come back in the afternoon for all of these games. Make sure I don't miss any. It's very, very convenient being here on home soil this tournament. And I think that's going to be a big, big advantage for us this evening. Yes, Paraguay did very well in CONMEBOL qualifying, South American qualifying. But and they got the likes of Miggy Almiron is somebody I definitely recognize on their squad. He played for Newcastle, if you do remember, also for Atlanta United. Speedy winger, of course. Paraguay built their run in the qualifying on being a very strong defensive unit. They did struggle to score. So I think that that will definitely be in our favor. This game, if the previous two friendlies are anything to go by, is going to be fun. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be going for it, trying to definitely get a win in the opener. It's going to be interesting to see how the guys play. Home soil, biggest game, home opener. It's going to be a ton of people there. SoFi Stadium in California, in LA, is absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely incredible. I haven't been out there, but I've seen it, and it's definitely been compared to the Mercedes-Benz. I think it's even bigger, actually. There's going to be a mob. There's going to be so many people there. It's going to be absolutely jam-packed, and I think that we're going to do it. I think we're going to pull it out. We're going to be looking for Pulisic. It's going to be a lot of high energy, and hopefully, based on what we've seen, if we can really, really press them, really get in their face and cause mistakes, I think we can rack up a couple of goals and get a good start to the group stage. Of course, we won't know about the other two teams until midnight for me here in on the East Coast tomorrow night, on Saturday night. At midnight, we will be watching Australia and Turkey, of course, for the game from the other two teams in this group. So this is very, very important. If USA are going to win the group, which I do have them in my bracket doing, it's very, very important that they beat Paraguay. I think we'll get to see, what Pochettino is thinking as far as that midfield. I really hope that Weston McKennie sits a little bit deeper and we get Pulisic free in front of Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie, hopefully in behind their midfielders, so he can run at the defenders like he for Senegal and Germany. I'm hoping we can have a repeat performance. Yes, we didn't beat Germany, but I think that both those performances were positive. And I think they were good build up to this game versus Paraguay. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm absolutely pumped up. The World Cup is here, and we're definitely going to be locked in all cup long. Make sure you got the notification bell on, people, because we are dropping 3 nations every single day until we're done. Obviously, yesterday was Mexico, South Korea, and the South Africans. Today it's just going to be 3 every day, and we're doing them like in how they appear. And so today we'll start with Czechia, of course, and then it'll be Canada and USA, and then we'll get the other 2 teams going tomorrow. And it's a little weird because how they're playing. There's so many games on one day, and I'm trying to do just 3 a day to keep it level with the group stages. And so for Bosnia, it's it's the Ed and Dzeko show, but they're going to sit in and defend. It's going to be another big European team. They're going to really, really try to staunch the aggressive style that Canada has adopted, and kind of sit back a little bit. Canada are going to go at them, and I don't remember what my prediction was, but I think Canada can pull it out. It's going to be low scoring. I know that much. I definitely know it's going to be low scoring. Who are the other people? Who's the other 2 teams in that group? Is it? Yeah, it's Qatar and Switzerland. And so this is a big game. This is a very, very important game, actually, for Canada and Bosnia. Both of them will assume they can beat Qatar 1-0 to Bosnia over Canada. I don't know about that, JT. I don't know about that. I'm leaning the other way, actually. To be honest with you, especially, well, if it goes long, yeah, 100%. It's the Dzeko show for sure. If it goes a long time scoreless, it's a hot take. If that one goes a long time scoreless, I think it'll be like a 1-0 Canada. But if Canada score early, then we could be in for, because Bosnia will obviously have to come out, and they'll have to do, something they're maybe not as comfortable doing, and we might get to see them express themselves a little bit more. I just hope that they don't sit back as far as South Africa did, and it's just, a typical Arsenal game where we're trying to score and the other team is just not showing up to the game. I hope that's not what we see, but it's a possibility. Obviously Bosnia, hostile environment versus a host nation. So they might be looking to just, pack it in, try not to concede, and so that's kind of what I'm expecting. But of course, these first games, you never know. And like you said earlier, JT, first games can be a little weird, especially with the format of this tournament and how 4 points and maybe, in my permutations for when I was doing my bracket, I have one, two, three, four. I have four, half the third place teams that advance only had 3 points. So, getting a draw is actually gold dust, for Bosnia, because you have to assume they're going to be Qatar. Unfortunately, Qatar are poor. And so if Bosnia will be more than happy, I think, to get a draw from this game. So I think they might sit back and let Canada come on to them, because the Switzerland game is the toughest game for anyone in this group. I think Switzerland will win the group. And so this game between Canada and Bosnia is already like your second v third place. You checked? What'd you check? Yeah. It's I think this Canada versus Bosnia is who is going to be second or third. And let me look at my sheet again here. I actually have Bosnia going out as the best team with 3 points to not go through in my bracket. Yeah, it's going to be they're no mugs, of course. They were very defensive in their playoff game to get into the tournament, and that's why I'm kind of speaking on how they're going to defend well today. But versus a host nation could be an interesting game. I'm definitely going to be locked in, and I hope you all, are locked in here right here on the Cup Chasers. We're gonna be doing content all tournament long. Of course, we got our 3 World Cup facts shorts all tournament long, of course, for each nation. Sassuolo teammates, nice. Okay, so they'll know a little bit about each other. I didn't know Kone. I know exactly who Kone is for Sassuolo. I did not realize he was playing for Canada. Okay, he's a good player. He's a good player for sure. And so I think that's going to be a good game. It's definitely going to be a good game, worth the watch. And of course, we're going to be locked in tonight for the USA versus Paraguay World Cup football, baby. That is where it's at. Of course, the biggest stage in front of the entire world. I'm pumped. I'm absolutely pumped. And I hope you are as well. So go ahead and smash up the likes on the channel. Subscribe if you are new. Big up everyone in the chat. Of course, big up JT every single time. You are the man, my friend. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you got that notification bell on so you know when all of the content is dropping. Of course, for the first 2 weeks of the tournament here, we might be doing the actual podcast like in between games, next week. So it's gonna be crazy because like the normally scheduled podcast That's awesome. That's awesome, JJ. That's funny. The normally scheduled podcast with Nez and Asif this next week. Oh my God, no way. No way, JT. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, there you go. There you go. Kone might be this application. It's his he wants to present himself. It's his trial. That's the word I'm looking for. His trial to be an Arsenal player. But isn't that what the World Cup's all about, right? Is unknown names from smaller teams, lesser teams that get onto their nation's team. Oh, they're always listening, JT. They're always listening, brother. But isn't that what the World Cup's all about? Is getting on, because like who knew who Enzo Fernandez was before last tournament? You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it's all about, baby. And hopefully Kone can show up and maybe he can join the Premier League champions, and so I definitely hope that they have a great tournament, of course. And it's what you want to see. You want to see that kind of thing, of course. But Like I said, the podcast is scheduled for right after the England game next week. So I'm not too sure. Once it gets closer, we'll see when we can get Nez and Asif together. Absolutely, JT. I agree 100% with this as well. But of course, we are going to lock it off right there. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing each and every time. I do appreciate that. Of course, you're going to see me really, really soon. Like I say, we're going to have lots of content coming down the line. So make sure you're locked in. I do appreciate it.